The Englund Gambit is one of the most feared openings at beginner and intermediate level, but something I've noticed is that despite the fact that it is completely losing by force, it is very commonly played and almost nobody actually knows how to beat it. So in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to beat this opening and embarrass anyone who dares play it against you. But enough said, let's get started. So the Englund Gambit is pawn to d4, and now black plays pawn to e5, offering up the e-pawn for some tricky compensation, but I will show you how to get past all of the tricks and traps. So we're going to accept the gambit, so we are now up one pawn, which is good, and black plays knight to c6. Attacks the pawn, obviously we don't want to drop the pawn, so we play knight to f3. Defend it, and now black plays queen to e7. This move adds another attacker here, and we are going to fall into the quote-unquote trap of the Englund Gambit, which is bishop to f4 here. Now this move defends the pawn once again, but it might look like a bad move because black can play queen to b4, and black plays this 99.9% of the time, and this move forks our bishop, our king, and our b2 pawn. So we're pretty much forced to save our bishop by blocking the check, and now black will take on b2. So we have given the pawn back now. You might think, isn't this bad? Shouldn't we try to retain the one pawn advantage? And the answer here is actually no, since even though this is now an equal material position, black is extremely underdeveloped and they will soon pay the price. But let's focus on the immediate problem, which is our rook in the corner. The one thing you need to remember here is to not play bishop to c3, because it might look like this is now defended for here, and then knight defends bishop, but black has bishop to b4 pinning, and I won't get into the specifics, but this is completely lost for us. Instead, you need to know the move knight to c3. Now the queen sees a rook defending it, and black is going to have a lot of trouble from this position now on. So black has two main moves here. The more common and better one is bishop to b4, which most of the video will be about. However, the other one is knight to b4, and I'll just look at this real quick. This move attacks the c7 pawn, and what you need to remember here is to not play like rook c1 to defend it, because then black can take on a2. We don't need to allow this, but instead play the move knight to d4. Kind of hard move to find if you don't know beforehand, but this move now defends this c2 pawn, and black's position is soon going to crumble. And the example line I have for you is something like pawn to c5, most common move, attacking our knight, and here we are going to counterattack the queen. We play rook b1, attack the queen, so only stay square is back to a3, and now we move this knight that is under attack to b5. Now we're forking black's queen and the c7 fork here, which if we can get our knight there, there'll be a fork of the rook and king, which will be great. But black has this move, queen to a5. Defending this square, very lucky, but here we have a very nice move to win, pawn to a3. Attacking the knight, there is some trickery here with like pawn to a6. I won't get too far into this, but most people here will just drop the knight back to c6, and now we simply win with knight to d5. Very nice move. This X-rays, or sorry, not X-rays, but discovers attacks the queen, and now both of our knights are aiming for the c7 square, so something like queen to a4 now, and our knight can drop into c7. We just win the rook in the corner. Black can't castle, and I'm sure I don't need to explain that this is absolutely horrible for black. So that's what you need to know if they play the knight to b4 line, which is very bad, but the slightly better line is bishop to b4. Now, if they play this, then we'll move our rook over to b1, attacking the queen, and now they have two main moves here. The most common one and much better one is queen to a3. You'll face this most of the time, but they also have the queen sack line with queen takes on c3, and I know this line is famous, but I'm being honest here, it's horrible. We'll simply take, black will take back, and we just drop our knight back to d2. Yeah, black can take the pawn, but it doesn't matter. We're still up so much material, and we'll just play ultra solid here. Pawn to e3, then bishop to d3, then castle. And yeah, I guess, black has 2 pieces for the queen and a pawn, but that is simply not enough compensation for the queen, and sooner or later you will effectively convert this into a win. So that's for the queen sack line, but now let's look at the more common and better line, which is queen to a3 here. If they play this, then the main line here goes rook to b3, but I'm not entirely convinced by this move. Instead, when I was researching, I found a much better move that scores insanely well, which is knight to d5 here. Now this move gets really aggressive. So now we have 3 attackers on this bishop, as well as attacking the c7 fork here. So black's only really good move here is to trade on a d2 with the check. My god, I can't try this. With the check, we'll take back of our queen, and now black here has queen takes on a2, winning this pawn because they're counter-attacking our rook, and might look bad since we are actually down a pawn here, but you will see that we have an enormous amount of compensation, and we're actually just completely winning here. So we're going to drop this rook over to d1, set up a potential battery on this d file, and the c7 problem remains. Black's only move to defend here is king to d8, which is very ugly. Now you can't castle. Only way to defend is like this, because if they play queen to a5, then we can just trade queens and then get the c7 fork, and we just win like that. So yeah, black's only move here to even attempt to survive is king to d8. Super ugly move, and now we have the killer blow here, knight to g5. Both of our knights coming in. This knight is now attacking the f7 pawn with this fork that is now no longer defended now that the king is on d8, and they only have 2 moves here, and both of them lose immediately. The first one is knight takes on e5 to defend like this, but this just doesn't work because now queen to c3. We're attacking the knight in the center as well as a c7 pawn, and they simply just can't survive here. The best move is for them to play pawn to f6, defend their knight, but I mean they really just can't survive. Here we have an insanely nice move, knight to e6 check, and black's only really move that I can play here is taking back. They can go king to e8, but now we can just take this a fork, and black's gonna get murdered anyways. If they do take, then now we have queen takes on c7, king has to move over. Now we have knight takes on f6 check, checking the king, and no matter what black takes back with, whether it be the pawn or sorry, I kind of spoiled it there, but it's pawn or the knight, or they move their king over, rook to d8 is simply checkmate with a very nice, I believe it's called a lawnmower checkmate. So if they take on e5 trying to defend, they just get absolutely crushed, but the other move that they can try to play is knight to h6, defending it like this, but this also completely loses due to the very nice move, pawn to e6. A super nice move, sacrificing the pawn, and it just completely wins. Black will take like 99% of the time, and we just take back. We don't care about this knight. In both these lines, this knight gets sacrificed on e6, because after black takes, once again, if they don't take, then we can just go to c7 and get this fork here, just win the rook. Yeah, so after we take, if black takes back, now knight to b4 check. Discovered check on the king with our queen and rook. We are also attacking the queen. Black's only, even attempt to try here is queen to d5, but we can just nab that queen right up. And, I mean, they can take back, we can take back at the queen. We're just up a substantial amount of material here, and I don't really need to explain that this is completely winning. Alright, that is how to absolutely destroy the Englund Gambit. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, comment if you want to let me know what you thought, and I will see you next time. Have a fantastic day.